What just happened?
From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. In this recording, we go over that incredible $3.5 trillion recon. And guess what? An additional $25,000 being proposed to be added to the recon, direct payments to you. Oh my goodness, I'll go over all the incredible details. This recon will pay you about $15,000. Most viewers of this channel will be eligible for about $15,000 with cluster number 1 passed, including hazard pay, and then cluster number 2 passed with paid leave, cluster number 3 passed with also money for seniors, a world exclusive. In this recording, we go over all of the incredible great details about this recon, that IRS monthly stimulus check still being pushed for. We'll go over all the incredible details about the push to add a monthly stimulus check in there on top of a recon that'll pay viewers of this channel about $15,000 on top of a proposed $25,000 being proposed to be added in there, and on top of the incredible big news as student loan debt forgiveness gets a new added lift. Boy, meantime, the president's approval rating's falling as he gets that recon rushing to the door with a date now set for the recon. Yes, a date. And we got more details with third stimulus paying more money out the door, and this stimulus with breaking news about your COLA increases for later this year. That's just getting started because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and it's time for a deliciousness of morning starting on Mornings LA. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is good where you are. A delicious day with the $3.5 trillion recon passed. It'll pay viewers this channel about $15,000. I'm going to show you how to get all these clusters like cluster number 2 and cluster number 3. I have a world exclusive about where Medicare is going. They're proposing that everything that's in their recon is staying in there, but will they get that? Then changes in durations. Meantime, the incredible details as $25,000 is being proposed to be added in there. Wow. You're hearing this for the first time on Mornings. Then the monthly stimulus check provision being pushed to be added in there as well, as Leader Schumer, the number 1 in the Senate, says it's going in there. Wow, what a big day we got on point. Then we got the huge details about student loan debt forgiveness. More debt is being forgiven. Could it be yours? New statements from the White House as the president's poll ratings falling. Why is this? It's because people don't know what's in the recon, except you two. And then we cut to the big money under third stimulus and a new COLA for fifth stimulus. Wow, it's a big morning and it's a big day and it starts right now, so subscribe. This is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America, live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is a whole slate of programming like noontime on 11 o'clock and mornings crypto at 10. And then we got shows this afternoon, so subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. And also, sign up for those LALATE alerts. Let's turn to the incredible details as the $3.5 trillion recon passed the House subcommittee 2 weeks ago. That will pay viewers of this channel upwards of about $15,000 across the board. We can go over each of these clusters of checks and got to those IRS stimulus checks after that. And here we go. Hazard pay and $4,000 of elder care in this first cluster passed. What is this? Well, they got hazard pay in there, but the earned income tax credit broadened the eligibility and increasing the payout across the board. Then up to $4,000 a year for elder care, up to $4,000 a year for young children's care as well. They got home repairs in there, free, totally free if you're in a low-income community. Then grants the college student, either to the university or to the student himself or herself, and then the Pell's grant made tax-free. They got money in there as well for the CTC MSC monthly stimulus checks, $51,000 of them. How much is this? $300 approximately per month, every year for 18 years. If that child is in a low-income household, that's $51,000 for the child tax credit. Wow, that's deliciousness. Then they got money in there as well for bikes, cars, and electric trucks. How much? Up to 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric car, personal use, and a little bit more if it's for business use or a truck. Before we get to the second cluster of checks passed, the big breaking details is happening right now. No one saw this coming, and boy, this is a biggie. The proposal of a huge $25,000 addition to this recon. What is this? It would be a direct payment to you to go buy a new house. This is being proposed by Maxine Waters, Sharon Brown, and Raphael Warnock. The proposal is up to $25,000 to purchase a new home. The only eligibility criterion at the moment is that it is a first-time home buyer. Wow, that is huge. Meantime, competing legislation has been proposed by Ron Wyden as well. There you go. Now let's turn to the second cluster checks, and boy, these are deliciousness. And these second cluster checks include more home repairs. Remember, everything in this recon is for you. Everything is for Americans across the board. It's for SSI and SSDI, single individuals, red states, blue states. You don't have to be COVID related to get this money. It's all for you. And it's about $15,000 when we look at all the three clusters. Home repairs got in there, and paid leave. What is paid leave? Paid family leave and paid medical leave. How much does it pay? A lot. Up to $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. Up to $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. And up to $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. What's paid family leave? You have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Paid medical leave. You have to stay home because your son broke his leg. They also got into this second cluster of checks, weatherizing your home checks. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats on the roof. What I always say is always weatherize a home to keep the moderate Democrats out of the House. And wherever possible, weatherize the Senate to keep the moderate Democrats out of the Senate. Then they got checks in there for household tax credits, checks for seniors like dental, vision, health, childcare programs, and then checks for pre-kindergarten and tuition-free community college. Wow, definitely need to take that free community college class called What the World is LATE Saying 101. It's for everyone that says I talk funny. Now you can be fluent in that foreign language called Los Angeles. In a second, we'll go to the third cluster checks. But first, what is Congress doing? Congress has a date. Congress has a date. Nancy Pelosi now says that the recon and the roads and bridges will both be called for a vote by October 31st. Now, notice I said the word by very emphatically. By. That's Nancy Pelosi's words. By. Not on Halloween. All weekend long, people are saying, how can they vote on this on Halloween? They don't have a costume. To which my response is, it's by Halloween. And who says they're not always in costume? Did you think that was really her real hair? I just don't know. There you go. Now let's turn to the third cluster checks, and here we go. Seniors and free internet. Boy, and I got a world exclusive about this one. Get ready for it. It's deliciousness. Free school meals for all checks. Cheaper prescription medication checks. Checks for farmers. Checks for free internet. Checks for clean energy. Checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, checks for seniors, checks for dental, vision, hearing care, and lowering the eligibility age for Medicare. Here comes that exclusive. Bob Casey's office tells a viewer of this channel that they're proposing to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. Wow. Two of the checks in this third class the president particularly likes, I like, because they're instant savings to you. First, cheaper prescription medication. Cheaper prescription medication. How this work? You and the pharmacist say, hello, Mr. Pharmacist, I have a horrible headache. Oh, what's the problem, LA? It's the moderate Democrats giving me a headache again. Oh, yes. Do you have a solution for that, Mr. Pharmacist? I do. Seats for stimulus. No, I need a prescription. And then you take two $20 bills out of your wallet then to pay for $40. They're going to cut the prescription medication prices, so when you go to refill, you may only have to take out one $20 bill from your wallet. Then they're going to do something else, and they're going to offer you free internet. Cities and counties and states nationwide will offer free internet to you. All you have to do is ask for the username and password. What's the username and password? It's purple $12 ice cream. And the password is DC Reese. Oh, okay, there we go. In the second, we'll be going over how they get this recon over the finish line. But first, now let's turn to that IRS monthly stimulus check. Where are we? We got this recon that passed a House subcommittee 2 weeks ago. It's a big recon, has a lot of items in there, and it is not a bill. It's not a bill. It's not a finished work either. So everyone's pushing to put stuff in there, like the $25,000 to go buy a house and those monthly stimulus checks. Where do they add stuff? They have several opportunities of where to add things, and here is where they can add it for you. First, they can add it into the recon before it goes to a bill format in the House. Then, if they don't get it done then, when you see that House bill, they can modify the House bill before the House goes for a vote. Number 3, and the most important one, is the 2-day vote-a-rama at the very end in the Senate. The final 2 days of the entire process is called a vote-a-rama, in which the senators look at what was given to them from the House and say, I want to change it. And who determines how the vote-a-rama works? Chuck Schumer. Who determines what's called for a vote in the Senate? Chuck Schumer. Who determines the vote-a-rama's process and what goes for a vote before something else? Chuck Schumer. And who said he wants to give you a monthly stimulus check not once, but twice in the last 7 days? Not Bernie. Yeah, we got Bernie on that list as well. Yes, he did. But also Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer telling Debbie Applegate, his staff telling Debbie Applegate before last weekend, yes, he's putting a monthly stimulus check in there. And that's after he told Donnie's wife the week before that, he's putting it in there as well. Well, this is why Bernie Sanders' office has been so impressed by you. This is a message from a viewer of this channel to me, describing her conversation with Bernie Sanders' top aide in D.C. This is not a staffer. This is not a secretary. This is not a person who prunes the orchids on the TV set. This is a top aide to Bernie Sanders' office. And the conversation said that through last Friday, Bernie Sanders had received 1 million calls from the Purple Power and LALATE viewers. This advocacy is making waves in the congressional halls because they've never heard of any advocacy like this or the power of a channel like this until LA came on the scene. This is the first time elected officials and their staff have truly heard from the American people because guess what? They usually hear from lobbyists. They don't hear from people like you and me. And now they not only have heavy hearts, but a renewed sense of urgency to get help out so that they work for faster. Our advocacy has been so strong and so heartfelt and so polite, not just for ourselves, but also the communities. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over what this means now going into these final days. With about 20 days away, Congress is working this week, not on the House floor, not on the Senate floor, but in subcommittees to add things to the recon. There's a battle over what stays in the recon, what comes out. A very fascinating article released over the weekend had a quote in which it talked about lobbyists beating down the doors of the White House to get stuff into the recon. Lisa Rice said, we have all these coalitions of industry groups beating down the door of the White House to make sure that their provisions get into the recon. We also have people who have provisions in the recon where the provisions are coming out. We have a recon that's moving from $3 trillion into the $2 trillion range. So we have a lot of things pushing and moving across the board while a vow to add more provisions into the recon can still be done and is still being done, like that $25,000 for buying a new house. All these are fascinating details are going to be explained right after the commercial break. We got a lot coming up. We're just getting started, but here's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as the excitement of Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home home. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LA live from Santa Monica as the excitement continues with your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. 3 clusters of checks into that big $3.5 trillion recon. Those 3 clusters of checks pay these viewers of this channel about $15,000. I'm going to show you how to get these sums of money in this recon so far. But meantime, we're going to go over whether there's going to be any changes to those items. They say no. Let's see if that's true. Then we're going to go over where the changes can be made. Duration. We're going to go more about that $25,000 that's being added in there, those IRS stimulus checks as well. And then we'll be going over to student loan debt forgiveness with a big surprise that no one saw coming. Those monthly stimulus checks being advocated and being promised by Coon, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, AOC, and Jolapal. I'll go over all the latest details of that. Then we'll be cutting back over to COLA that got announced, its latest lift for my beneficiaries, coming in just a few days. You're going to have a laugh with me on that one because the number is going to look very familiar. Oh my goodness. Then we'll be cutting to FIST stimulus and what they'll do with this stimulus when they switch over to inflation as your new benchmark. And then we'll be turning to third stimulus that has a big cash infusion available for you, up $13 billion, and how you can end this week with upwards of $80,000. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto at 10 o'clock. We're running a little bit late. And then noontime at 11 a.m. Afternoon shows at 1, 3 o'clock afternoons LA, and then 5 o'clock evenings LA. Our new hit show, Evenings Countdown at 6, Stream Stimulants at 7, and then we go into Sirloin at 8. So subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, let's turn to the big surprise that no one saw coming, which is this. Sanders' office now advocating and praising you for your advocating for that inclusion of that stimulus check. Sanders' office reports 1 million viewers of LALATE have now reached out to Bernie Sanders' office, and congressional staffers are now talking about your advocacy because guess what? They're hearing from lobbyists generally for provisions that lobbyists want to try to add to the recon, and they don't hear from people like you regularly. And that is why this channel is making a huge, huge impact on that advocacy of that inclusion of that stimulus check. Let's go over how this advocacy works and go over all the details of it starting right now. And it started 8 weeks ago when I said pick up the phone and advocate. And WR, longtime viewer of this channel, picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, and advocated for the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check. And Chris Coons' office said yes. He'll be putting a monthly stimulus check in there. Then 3 weeks ago, this channel started to deliver a lot of exclusives. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. You know what's happening today and yesterday is Democratic analysts have said the president's approval ratings are plummeting because no one is explaining what's in the recon. So unless you're an LA viewer, you really don't know that there's a $25,000 provision going in there or what's going on. A new report from Simon Rosenberg, Democrat strategist, and also a person named Longwell, says the president's decline is alarming. It's serious. And another person says nobody knows what's in the recon. And it was at that point 3 weeks ago I told you that the recon will be written by the House subcommittee. It was. Sheila Jackson, your number 2 in the Progressive, she wrote the recon and called it for vote on the House subcommittee. I told you the House subcommittee would vote first. They did. Then it goes over to the House and the Senate last. And I said Bernie's an important part of the equation. He is. 3 weeks ago, Bernie said a key quote. He said that unlike prior budget chairmen of the Senate, I like to get out amongst the people when I'm doing a recon. That means he wants to hear from you. He wants you to advocate. And I told you to pick up the phone and advocate to Sanders' office. And Lynn Glenn did, Margaret did, and Brother Joshua did. And all 3 were told 3 weeks ago that a monthly stimulus check provision would go in there. Let's go over what advocacy is and what advocacy isn't. Advocacy involves telling your unique story of why you need something. It involves a series of sentences that all end in periods, not question marks. You need it particularly because of something about what's going on in your life. Maybe your medicine, maybe your medical bills, maybe your family, maybe your town, your business. I need it because of my divorce, because I broke my leg, because of what's going on with my sister's husband. I need it because of my business, my town, my church. It's much like a lobbyist who's picking up and advocating for why the union he represents needs this money. We need it for this because this is what's going on. Sanders' office said they were so impressed by the viewers of LALATE and their advocacy because you all brought a unique story. And that's what I had told you was they're not going to know your town, they're not going to know your community, but they'll certainly understand your story. And if you make it very impassioned and very personal to you, it will resonate. And that's what you've done so well. Now let's go over what's not advocacy. What's not advocacy is asking questions. Are we getting a stimulus check? What day are we getting it? When is the vote? When is the bill? Is it in the bill? Is it on the bill? Is it blue? Is it green? Is it for you? Is it for me? Is it for her? No, that's Dora the Check Explorer. Asking a lot of questions doesn't get anyone anywhere because it's not advocating for anything. It's just asking things. And the response to asking things is no. Remember, we don't have a bill yet. Everyone's advocating to put stuff into a recon that's not even in bill format yet. And everyone's trying to battle to keep stuff in there. And then we got lobbyists battling against one another. And that's what Brother Joshua did 3 weeks ago. He picked up the phone and advocated for you, for his family, his church, his community, saying why he needed this recon. And he called Sanders' office, and they said, yes, $1,000 or $1,300, 36 months, Sanders will put it in there. But he needs to hear from you. And at that point, I said, pick up the phone and make your voice be heard. And boy, did you make your voice be heard. Because let's look at some of the screen grabs that came in from viewers on either the live chat or in private messages. It came in with viewers like Donnie. You met his wife earlier in this video. Here's Donnie. He writes, I called Bernie Sanders' office. I said, why my city needs it, my family needs it. I need to progress for my water and everything else. And they said, okay, we're doing a forced stimulus check. Hurricane Tina picked up the phone and advocated as well, and Sanders' office saying, yes, we're doing it. And then here's Caroline. She writes that she advocated to Sanders' office, explaining people are losing their homes and everything I got. And they said, Bernie Sanders' office said, yes, we're doing a forced stimmy. And here's Yaya, who picked up the phone and advocated to Ron Wyden's office, and they saying, yes, they're doing it. Advocacy at that point, I told viewers, involves telling your story. And the more people you can tell your story to, the better. And that involves picking up the phone and calling multiple offices. Here is what Will did. He called 3 offices in one day, and all 3 offices said yes. He called Ron Wyden, he called Bernie Sanders, Liz Warren, and Chuck Schumer. And I explained my situation, he writes, and how I need a stimulus and why that would make a huge impact. And all 3 offices said yes, we're doing it. We're doing a third stimulus check. Then Liz Warren said $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months, and there you go. And Larica advocating to Bob Casey's office and them saying as well they're going to do it. At that point, 1 million calls into Bernie Sanders' office from LA viewers. And thousands of LA viewers telling me that those senators confirmed the inclusion would happen of that monthly stimulus check. Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden, telling thousands of viewers that they're adding that provision in there. Then on the House side, AOC Omar and Jalapal giving the confirmation as well, and also Pelosi. Pelosi staff telling Mark, a viewer of this channel, that Pelosi will be adding in the provision. There'll be $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, and that negotiations are near complete. The message continue by the day and by the hour, and certainly this huge one as well. Last Friday, Debbie Applegate confirmation that Schumer will be doing it, and this comes after Donnie's wife got the confirmation the week before. That is the face of advocacy, and it's important to understand that advocacy needs to continue, because if you advocate in the month of September, you still need to advocate. A lot of people are battling to get things into the recon, and a lot of people are battling to keep their things in the recon as questions of where and how they can get this from 3.5 into the $2 trillion range grow. Let's go over those questions right now. Last week, all the progressives said that every item that's in the recon is staying and that no item is being reduced and that they can still add items. They specifically said they can change duration to get this down from into the $2 trillion range, and also change the tax implication of it. And you know what? They're 100% correct. In fact, I proposed this before they even said it. Let's go over all the details. First, duration. Earlier in the week, I said they can cut the duration to get the price tag into the $2 trillion range. And then 2 days later, John Paul said the same thing. How did I get that right? It was easy. Bernie had said this in July. Let me go over what happened. Before we had a recon, Bernie went into the Senate meetings with those senators, every Democratic senator, saying, I want to do a recon. Oh, really, Bernie? How much? $7 trillion. No, Bernie, we're not doing $7 trillion. Okay, well, I'll cut it in half to $3.5 trillion by shortening the duration. And that's how they got to $3.5 trillion. Called it for a vote and passed in the House, passed in the Senate, and that became your recon procedural, became a law. Now, how can they do it again? And how did Bernie do it then? Let me give you general numbers as an example. This is not how they actually did the exact numbers. This is not the precise calculation, but I'm giving you an example of how it worked. Let's say Bernie went into those negotiations for $7 trillion, asking for programs to run for 20 years, like $4,000 elder care on a 20-year program at $7 trillion. They said, no, not doing $7 trillion. So then he said, okay, we'll do it as a 10-year program. That kept it at $4,000 a year, elder care, but made the price tag of the recon $3.5 trillion. Done deal. Now that they're looking at $3.5 trillion, what could they do again? Split the duration again. For example, 5 years. If you split all the programs, which in this example are 10-year programs, to 5-year programs, suddenly the recon goes from 3.5 to 1.7. Done deal. That's exactly what the moderate Democrats like as a price tag. It's an easy deal right off the bat. There you go. Another way they're proposing to do a change is on the taxes. This is a little complicated. They want to raise corporate taxes and raise the wealth tax for billionaires to pay for the recon. But if they're reducing the recon from 3.5 into 2 trillion, there's concerns that might send an image that the loopholes they're trying to close would stay still open. Fascinating. All right, now let's turn to the big surprise of student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness got a big shocker this week, and no one saw it coming. Number one, student loan debt forgiveness was first unveiled a few weeks ago when the president said that if anyone became disabled after university, then your debts would be forgiven. Now we have a new round of debt forgiveness. This is the following. If you became an employee in a nonprofit or a government job, city, county, state, or federal government, for 10 years or more, your student loan debts are forgiven. Wow, what great news. Then the president's now indicated he will forgive student loan debts of $10,000. Battle is still underway to get it to $50,000. Big details there as well. And now let's turn to fifth stimulus and third stimulus. You heard the news on fifth stimulus this morning. Boy, I'm still laughing every time I hear this. Remember I always told you that the inflation raise for fifth stimulus, that latest reform to SSI and SSDI later this year would be 5%? Well, they announced today and yesterday that COLA, which is still your benchmark for your benefits, will be raised up an average of 5% in December. There we go. Why? Because that's the cost of living in the current environment. Hit that number, right? There's my number, 5% again. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean going forward? Fifth stimulus is a body of legislation that does the reform for SSI and SSDI. They hope to get it done by December, but the moment your benefits will step up on its current benchmark, which is COLA, an average of 5% later this year. If they get this fifth stimulus to law thereafter, then you'll step up additional if so warranted. So let's explain how the fifth stimulus works. First, they're going to raise your benefits up one big time, despite anything else that's going on. This is SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. And yeah, in the months of August and September, I was saying 5% is going to be where we're heading. Now Wall Street analysts say we may already be at 5%. So they were originally saying 2%. I was on the high. I was much higher. Now they're saying I might be, in the money or maybe undervalued going into a few more months from now. Once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Next, third stimulus. Boy, this has been a biggie. You can get thousands of dollars from this channel every single day. Let's go over all the details of this starting right now. Treasury sent out an additional $13 billion for rent to your cities, counties, and states, and the additional $13 billion of money out for cities and counties and states for rent is now available. And I told viewers over the last 2 weeks to read the LALATE newsletter and read the Treasury statement before making the phone call. And this is what Prina did. She says, I want to thank you, LALATE. When you said that additional $13 billion is out there, I immediately pounced. I applied to the city of Austin. I got approved. I'm now getting $6,000 for 8 months of rent into 2022. Congratulations, Prina. So get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to show you how to get these big sums of money right now. We're going to get some rent. We're going to get some utilities. We're going to get some appliances. We're going to get some clothing. We're going to get some food. We're going to get a lot of items across the board, and it's starting right now. This is money that's available for you right now, and this is what we do on this channel with this money. First, we're going to get some money for rent. Reach out to 6 places. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. They have different pots of money. Next, list the keywords I say in this video. And third, get ready for those nonprofits. Here are the 6 places you reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent or mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Those are the keywords you say. How much money in rent can you get? Viewers were getting this about a month ago. $20,000 to $27,000 from Purple Hawks and members of this channel. Nisi all the way up to Elizabeth. But now Jen and others are getting upwards of $40,000. Next, I want you to get utilities. Reach out to all utility companies. So if you have 5, reach out to 5. And guess what? The numbers were this way a month ago. Now Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. Next, SNAP. I want you to get money for SNAP. What is SNAP? It is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. And yes, everyone's benefits are stepping up an average of 25% lifetime automatically starting this month. Mark's brother-in-law is at $21,000, heading to $26,000. I want you to get multiple items like Nancy at $32,000 and Nisi at $23,000. Viewers are getting multiple sums of items. Here's Lorraine. She's heading to $110,000. She got more money yesterday. Here's Mark at $51,000. Next, get ready for those nonprofits. Get that pen paper ready again because I got the 5 nonprofits for you. First, the nonprofits are great because they do the same items generally as third stimulus, but with different eligibility. So if you have an eligibility problem, lean on the nonprofits. Here are the 5 nonprofits, also featured in the newsletter for members nightly. They are United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, it's important to remember that the nonprofits pay for items that the federal government never pays for or rarely pays for. For example, homeless people into shelters, clothing sometimes, small appliances. Viewers of this channel have gotten refrigerators, furnaces, portable heaters, and even windows fixed from the nonprofits. They also help with random items that sometimes surprise a lot of us. And of course, Salvation Army is helping with those holiday gifts right now. Remember, they do it in October, not in December. Here again are the 5 nonprofits featured in the newsletter. They are United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. What's important to understand is as we go into a big week, there are so many dramatics unfolding across the board. And what's important to remember is that we have a recon, a forced stimulus recon, $3.5 trillion price tag currently. Even if they cut the duration of the programs and run them for shorter periods of time, it's still paying you out the same amount of money. Viewers of this channel will be eligible for about $15,000 of this forced stimulus recon. I've been doing this a long time. As soon as third stimulus became a law, some people were just focused on a $1,400 stimulus check. I said, no, I'm going to focus on the $15,000 I can get you from third stimulus. And it turned out most viewers of this channel got $40,000 from third stimulus. Countless viewers have gotten $80,000 and more from third stimulus. Now, as we look at forced stimulus, it looks like it pays at least $15,000 for the average viewer of this channel. That's you. Every different walk of life. Yes, that's you. In addition, a push underway to put stimulus checks in there, a push underway to put $25,000 to buy a new home in there as well, and other items being pushed. What's important to understand is that if they shorten the time horizon, the payouts still remain the same. Instead of a 10-year program, for example, a 5-year program. Meantime, where is Congress? What is Congress doing? Congress is in town, working on the subcommittees day in, day out to get this legislation finished. They're not on the House floor, not on the Senate floor. And as they do that, guess who's calling them? You are, and also lobbyists. Lobbyists are pushing to get stuff in there. And that's what Maxine Waters said last weekend. In the fourth stimulus recon, Maxine Waters already has, in the past recon, $300 billion for rent aid. Does that sound big? It is big. Third stimulus was only $46 billion. She has $300 billion in there. Her concern, in a statement she released on Friday, as a progressive, is that she's worried that fellow progressives may remove her money altogether or water it down dramatically. That's why everyone's battling to get stuff in there across the board. We have a tow truck and a tow hitch. Your tow truck is the recon procedural. It's passed over the finish line. We had a vote on the House and a vote on the Senate. It became law. A recon of $3.5 trillion. It's passed over the finish line. It then came back to pick up the tow hitch, the recon substantive, passed in a subcommittee of the House. Not law yet, not bill yet, just a subcommittee, $3.5 trillion. That tow hitch has that recon in there, and people are protecting the tow hitch to make sure everything that's in there stays in there. But they can also add stuff in there. A push underway to put stimulus checks in there, $25,000 to buy a new home and other items across the board. As you're seeing that tow truck head to the finish line, so are other cars on the highway trying to cut in front of it from lobbyists who are trying to get other things on the recon before you. Get in that driver's seat of that tow truck. Get in that driver's seat of that tow truck and make sure that tow truck heads to the finish line. And with that, make 3 promises to yourself. 1, I want you to get as much money as you can from third stimulus as far into 2022. Get it as far into 2022 for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance. Number 2, lean on the nonprofits. The nonprofits are not getting a lot of calls right now. They get calls as soon as they get cold. As soon as it becomes late October, early November, later November, December, boy, they get flooded with phone calls. But currently, quick turnaround times from United Way for rent and St. Vincent de Paul for rent. Get these items right now. These items are available right across the board, and that's how viewers like Prina started last week at $0, ended the week at $6,000. I have a viewer like Johnny, who several weeks ago was one of 3 viewers, who started the week at 0. By the middle of the week, they had gotten $40,000 from listening to my recordings. And by the weekend, Johnny had gotten $80,000 from 7 items. I've had viewers who got money before, go get money in other places. If you got money from one source, you can get money from other sources. Don't put in just one application, put in multiple applications. Get it from as many places as you can, and once you get one item, turn around and get the next one. And with that, join me as the programming continues all throughout the day. Coming up next is noontime, LALATE at 11 a.m. A crypto live on air starts right next, and then I'm back with you at the 1 o'clock afternoons LALATE show, the 3 o'clock afternoons LALATE show, and then a big evenings LALATE. We have a new hit show, Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock, Stream Stimulus at 7, and Sirloin at 8. And then we go into our night shows of 9, 10, and 11 across the board. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Cow, so you know VIP. That newsletter comes out nightly, 7 p.m. from me to you via the YouTube alert system and the LA alert system, Monday through Friday. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.